we have more guns. We're the people of AR-15s, just to be clear. We're not you. We won once, we'll do it again. The coverage was so bad that this guy, Greenblatt, of the ADL, who is just like this. We don't like this guy. This guy's an absolute leader. And you use the ADL for the hate symbol or not taking it, so absurd. Even for him, this is too far of a bridge for the cross.
I'll be honest, I am angry. I am angry at all that allowed the dehumanization of Israelis and sanitized the terrorism of Hamas. I must say, I love this show, and I love this network. And I've got to ask, who's writing the scripts? Hamas, the people who did this, they are not fighters, Jonathan. They are not militants. I'm looking right at the camera. They are terrorists. It is a barbarian who rapes and brutalizes women, who kills children in front of their parents.
So just think of the time bomb, the ticking time bomb we created here at this. We don't know who's coming in. We have media, we have higher education establishments who go out there and support terrorist sympathizers, unfettered, completely. And at the same time, these are all the mistakes that we've made. 198 million Muslims, self-professed who support violence against civilians. If we're 198,000, I'd be concerned. 1.9 million, I'm like, maybe we're getting to 19 million. I'd say, okay, we have to just 198 million support sometimes violence against civilians. Over 50 million support often violence against civilians. Sure, not all Muslims. I get it. It's not even a majority of Muslims across the globe. But it's too much. And it's certainly too much where we can't keep track of the people who support violence against our civilians coming into this country. Now, let's also go back, because we see these celebrations of death. Do you remember when one French Muslim was killed in a traffic stop? The entire country descended into riots. The flip side. And so hold on a second. One person is killed. Tragedy. You start celebrations, parties of death. When your side, terrorists, kill hundreds of innocent women and children, you then start parties of death, celebrations of death. Where's the life in any of it? This is something a lot of people miss when we talked about Dr. Ben Carson. At one point, he caught all this flack where he said, actually, Sharia law is completely incompatible with the case. It's completely incompatible with the Constitution. The only reason that guy didn't make it for this, he's like audio ambient. I listen to his audiobooks every night. But he said it's completely incompatible with the Constitution. Why? Because it's a prescription of laws, Sharia law, which, by the way, exists in one capacity or another in every major Islamic nation in the world. And these laws, of course, always violate basic rights of women, always violate basic rights of people who are gay, minorities. They're not talking about systemic discrimination. They don't care. It's based on systemic discrimination. And based on systemic discrimination, not only on race, but on your faith. Do you know what it is? Do you know what that is? Do you know what the poll tax is? Do you know what the curfew is if you're not a Muslim under Sharia law? Of course it is incompatible with the Constitution. And before we even get to the 198 million people who support sometimes death for civilians, I bet you that number is a lot higher as far as Muslims who, if they had their way, would support you paying a poll tax as a Christian or a Jew, or a curfew, or being limited in your property rights, or where you can travel. That is all a part of Sharia law. It is completely incompatible with the Constitution, but the constitutional scholars at Harvard are not going to tell you about that. This is genocide, to be clear. People, you know what's not genocide? Happened with the Native Americans here. There was a lot of shitty stuff happening, by the way, the white settlers, and of course, even you can go to the conquistadors, but I am not defending them full stop. We just had Indigenous Peoples Day, or was it yesterday?
Columbus Day.
Was Columbus Day yesterday?
Yeah,
I'm trying to remember, it was a different day. It was also Canadian Thanksgiving, but nobody cares. But just to be clear, that's not genocide. If it were genocide, Johnny Depp wouldn't be 1/18th Comanche.
There would be no Comanche.
We wouldn't have more Native Americans today than ever in history. There were bloody battles. There were some underhanded tactics used on both sides. Absolutely. But it wasn't proactive genocide, and that it was never a matter of, and this is how you know the left perverse. They accuse others of doing exactly what it is that they do or they support. They accuse their fathers, who, by the way, or pilgrims, they accuse conservatives who are proud of their country.
Hey, man, hi, Anna, if you're there.
As though it was a matter of policy to go forward and wipe out any last redskin. That was never a policy. The policy was actually assimilation, intermarry, because we have people who are very industrious, and we wanted to be a part of it. I don't know if you know this. When you talk about the conquistadors, you know how many came over? About 500. You know how many natives there were? Hundreds of thousands. You know how they were taken up? Was because half of them had been, and by the way, I don't know about the Mayans, the Incas, right, the Aztecs, they had giant caves filled with gold. How do you think they got that gold? You get them gold, you are enslaved, or you no longer live. So they said, we're going to take our chances with the guys in the funny metal hats. That wasn't genocide. It required enough natives to take out other natives because they were tired of living under slavery. So I say this because they'll try and teach your kids that America is based upon genocide, when actual genocide today, actual genocide, and by that I mean the prescribed policy of the extermination and or eradication, which is funded, of all Jews. In other words, Hamas, Hezbollah, their goal is not complete until there is not one Jew or Christian left, period. That is actual genocide. That is not a one-sided war. That is genocide. Well, that is actually happening. Harvard, media, these people are quiet. 198 million. Interpret the verse. When then the rocks and tree will call, "O Muslim, O servant of God, there's a Jew behind me. Come and kill him."
No.
It is of Jew trees. And Muhammad's last words, calling for the death of Christians. We tried to warn you about this, Gerald and I, close to a decade ago.
Muhammad, what about salvation and forgiveness? How about that? Oh, anything that Muhammad, what shall I say of you? How do you feel about the Jews?
By the way, I'm sorry that you need a bodyguard. I think that's 8 years old.
I think it's more.
We made the references publicly available back then. We make them available now. You comment. You consider this genocide? Which one is more genocide-y, if we're going to go super genocide? Is it the Native American thing? Or is it the naked bullshit story you've been told? Or is it Hamas, Hezbollah, the Iranian regime? I think that one, when they say, hey, we actually want to exterminate all Jews, period, I think that would qualify. And by the way, the only reason we're allowed to discuss this, I have no idea how many times they've had to hit the YouTube dump button. I'm sorry. We can do this because of your support. Notice no sponsors tossing the show today. LighterWithCrowder.com/join up. $89 annually. You get this wonderful hand-etched mug. It's the only way to get it. You get Nick DiPaolo every day. You get the Hodge Twins, their weekly show, Brian Callen. You get an additional hour of show. Today, I guess we went late. Sorry. You guys are okay.
It's okay.
Another probably 40 minutes today. Alex Jones on Friday. So much more. But it's the we're able to talk about this. Hey, if we worked for the New York Times, we wouldn't be able to. And by the way, if we worked for a lot of conservative outlets, we wouldn't have been able to say the things that we said yesterday regarding the funding of Israel and the funding of wars in the Middle East, the more libertarian approach. It's entirely because of viewers like you, Mug Club. So we appreciate it. If you are watching on Rumble right now, the easiest way to join us is click that button, and it'll be seamless for you. We're going to continue with the story. Oh gosh, this one's.
Oh boy.
A writer got 60 days in jail for calling a journalist a fat lesbian. Now, just to be clear, she is a fat lesbian. YouTube piss off.
I don't believe in that. Yeah, they don't believe in personal wars, but they'll fund other groups for it. I've been over there, bud. I'll be right back.
Alrighty, so we did talk about this wonderful, girthy, hand-etched mug.
I love it.
I do too, and we shipped out a ton of these things to you guys. And so, look, if you ever had any issues with that, I think we've talked about different ways to contact us to make sure. But if you didn't get your mug, make sure, do me a favor, please do it right now. Go to Mug Club and actually just click right over there on the right-hand side. Now, maybe on mobile it moves around.
I made a post about this on Mug Club, so you have to go to the desktop site.
Yep.
And it's on the right-hand side.
On the right-hand side, it says, claim my mug, I believe is what it says. Click there, enter your mailing address for your mug, and we will make sure that we get that to you. And I know that as people sign up, that we go back and we review that list and make sure that we've gotten them all out. So if you haven't received your mug yet, please do that. We cannot ship it to you unless we know where to ship it to. I mean, we can send them somewhere.
So if they only see update your mailing address, does that mean they already did it? Or,
no, so you should see. Well, and if you're saying if they click on that from there.
No, some people are saying they only see just update your mailing address. So I mean, I guess you got to
Mug Club,
subscriber
you got
to get the mug. You can't just
that's right.
Be a free member and get a mug. Yeah,
you can't do that. But just go there. If you're a subscriber, you go to the live feed. So when you go there right now, you see all the content, right? You see the most recent show or the live show that's going on, and then you see most recent episodes, and then you see all the other shows on the right-hand side. Over on the left-hand side, there should be a news feed that you can click on, and that acts a whole lot like, X acts, right? Where you can go and talk and communicate, and obviously Toolman's been communicating in there, and I'll do that sometimes. That's the page where you need to be on the right-hand side of which will be the Claim My Mug button. So go there, click it, claim your mug, do it so that we can get these mugs out to you. That number's grown, I think, a little bit too. We talked about this in run through the number of Muslims that are willing to commit violence against civilians. Or support violence being committed against us. No. I thought it was 50 million, and when I said it, it sounded too high. It was 54 million.
Yeah, that's a 3% supported often.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
Which means always.
It's insane. That is
I don't know how many things you would take in the poll answer support often. Like, how often would you support beating the shit out of a broad? Pretty often.
It's like one of those things where they have
wouldn't answer it that way.
They have 1 through 5 as the options.
Yeah.
And 3 is like somewhat.
Yeah.
And then 5. Someone's actually circling. I never circle 5 for anything.
No, neither do I.
There's never a 5 or 1.
When I broke my femur, I didn't they did a scale from 1 to 10, and I was like 7.5. They were like, you broke your femur.
You gotta go no 7s.
Fine, 8.
Oh, really? You have to go lower?
You gotta go no 7s. So you gotta go like, it's either bad enough to be an 8 or it's not that bad and it's a 6.
And 8 means dilaudid?
That's what I do. I do.
Dilaudid is nothing.
That dilaudid means I feel like
All right. Got them donuts today.
It still really hurts. And she goes, well, I can't let you go to a place where they can give you different medicine until your pain level goes down. And I'm like, then I'm fine. Yeah.
And they wheeled me into the room and I'm like, can you please give me something? I'm not kidding. That was exactly
Sources.
fentanyl, morphine.
Sources, guys.
She was just pushing Dilaudid in post-op.
I'm not a warmonger, believe me. Even as a veteran, I think we were not over there for the right reason. Most of the time, most of all of our conflicts have been for the wrong reason. And I'm not saying we should be over there now, but I truly believe that your idea about Iran is incorrect.
I had to rephrase the question.
Yeah.
Non-Muslims. 3. Jews. 5.
And that's only because there is no 6. Well, before we move on to the next story, because Joe lets to go to the restroom, let's grab a couple chats, and then we'll...
Come on, dude, it's green.
Oh, it wasn't Sweden, so I can admonish me. It's Swiss.
Pull out with your fucking sheriff sticker attached to your license plate.
Oh, fat from the chocolate.
Yes. Swiss Miss.
How do you get fat in Switzerland? Their food sucks.
Does it?
Yeah.
I don't even know.
Schnitzel.
It's true.
It's like that.
I got cinnamon sugar, and I got
I don't know about cabbage.
the crumbly ones, the crunch.
Are you? Oh, okay. I have no idea.
Okay, so question.
The chocolate ones just looked weird.
Crew, how surreal is it for you to see all the anti-Semitism in the West with this attack on Israel at Trump?
I mean, I guess I wouldn't say so.
No, but they got torpedo boats.
It actually defies reality. I would say it was more surreal to see them, coming in like the fan band, the Holyfield Mike Tyson fight, descending upon
In the Suez.
But as far as the anti-Semitism, I grew up in Canada. Trudeau even had to come out and condemn it for the first time. Like, oh, this is too much. I grew up in a suburb of Montreal. We saw it pretty rampant. And mean, I had friends.
Only takes one of those to bring down a big ship.
Every single one of them was devout Muslim. They didn't like Jews. Not one of them liked Jews when it came down to it. They all disliked Jews when they were in an area. Again, it's not a melting pot. It's multicultural. So the sort of ghettoized areas where they were an entirely Muslim area. They would often only hang around Muslim people at school. Not all of them. I had some friends who were different, who they would hang out with everybody. But if you would go to these Muslim clubs, there was a strong streak of anti-Semitism whenever it came down to it. And there were no exceptions, just to be clear. So I'm not very surprised by it. I'm disappointed to see it happening in the United States. But having lived in Canada, I know that that's sort of status quo in Europe. Were you surprised?
Surprised? No, I mean, kind of, because I don't necessarily think it's all anti-Semitism. I think some of it is just, if they're celebrating these things, but I definitely think there's more of a hatred towards the state of Israel than there is towards Jews, towards Hebrew.
Yes. HEB. I'm a weak person. Well, no, I understand what he's saying. There are people who
most of that. So those.
Yeah, you know what? You're not going to understand this answer. It's going to be too much at this point. I hope you had a hell of a yes,
I did. Gosh, I don't normally have to, but man, when I go.
I mean, there's also this component, just to be clear, and Bill Whittle did a great piece in this back when I was at a place called PGTU. So Lazarus Crowder first started as an installment at PG in 2009. And it was once a week or twice a week. And Bill Whittle used to do this thing called Afterburner. Maybe he still does. I haven't even heard of it. Check it out. He did one on Israel and Palestine, and there is an inherent simply support the underdog, and that's how you end up with them tying their fake tits and nuts, because it's like, okay, I have to support LGBTQ, but since Israel is obviously a more advanced nation and their citizens enjoy some semblance of freedom, I have to support Palestine. Right? That there's nothing, it's not a consistent ideology other than destroy the power structures that be. So they see Israel as a power structure. They see America as a power structure. They see white men as a power structure. They see, you saw this right now with Black Lives Matter, the nuclear family as a power structure. So when you're just to destroy and take apart power structures, that's how you end up supporting Palestine at the same time as drag queen Dorian. And Israel is obviously a far more successful and effective nation. And that fact cannot be up for debate no matter where you land. Maybe you think it's ill-gotten gain, well, fine. But that's why the left is so inconsistent. A big part of it is a part of their dogmatic ideology is underdog must be morally superior.
I'd love to see a drag show in Palestine.
Yeah, I would too.
I'd love to see it do it. That'd be fire. Literally fire.
Well, I don't know if you remember, I did this. It was my first undercover thing where I asked them, in, this was in 2015, maybe 2014. I went down to Dearborn and asked them to make a gay wedding cake. So I said, no.
They're like, I don't understand.
And back then, we didn't have hidden cameras and GoPros. They had like an old Pentax in the trunk. And to be fair, some of them were very friendly about it. So no, and
I agree. They did, but that was the reason for it. I mean, I will even say that we created the state that they're in.
Again, it's a double standard because, well, Muslims are the underdog. So the problem is with Christians. The problem is with Western Christianity. Why? Because it's a power structure. Go to Dearborn. Do you have any idea how many child abductions take place? We had a woman who lived in, I believe, in Silver Heights, Michigan, where her husband was Muslim, left with the kids because he said, talik. That means divorce. Divorce 3 times. You can divorce them. And what is it?
Right, but Palestine has never actually been a country either.
And he disappeared instead of appear.
No, right?
And by the way, there is a kernel of truth to it.
Egyptians didn't want them.
They don't want to be married officially.
Iraqis didn't want them. Iranians didn't want them.
The covenant before God, which I think Christians can look at that and say, hey, you know what? Maybe considering divorce laws, it's kind of like Scotland, where they said, well, we're actually just going to tie their hands together. My dad and I were talking about this yesterday. Pops Crowder, thank you for bringing it up. It's a good point. Because they didn't want to basically have the nobles come in and rape their wife. So they said, hey, we believe in the covenant of marriage, so we're going
it's
to
debatable as to
be recognized by
what the justification is for giving them that area in Israel, but they've done nothing but give away ground since, because when they were given Israel, they were given all of Israel. The Jews were,
and so there are
all of it, because that's when the British owned it. And they've done nothing but give away ground, and
Yeah, he has the right
you know,
to. He takes the kids and he's gone. He said divorce them.
they made a huge mistake by doing that. I mean, if you're going to colonize, you colonize.
Montreal,
Even though that you say that's your homeland too. I mean, that's fucking every religion's homeland.
I think the entire back catalog is the best place is Mud Club because it's difficult to find new. That's where you find all this stuff.
Well,
We've got something in Colorado. Rep. Tim Hernandez apparently is refusing to condemn the murders in Israel right now. Do we have a tweet of that, or is it just?
It's like
article of that?
same as us, making reservations. We're giving them that spot. Is it right? I'm not going to say that. I'm just saying, yeah. Was this country really ours?
His pronouns, if he went and told Hamas's pronouns, would be him, her, her.
I mean, what's funny is before we got here, the indigenous people were killing each other at rates more than we ever did. That's real history. But that's the quiet part. That's the part that isn't talked about. Everyone's like, oh, they don't understand the concept of land. Bullshit. They understand that their concept of land is hunting grounds.
All three people
Millions of each other when we arrived.
It's not so much Aladdin as it is the monkey.
How long until they're not an underdog?
Forever. They outnumber the Jews there. What's the number of Arabs to the number of Jews in Israel?
Of course, it's debatable because there's no real record of either one. But
they will try and tell you. They'll try and tell you the Quran is full of science. Here's the thing: if you look
does it make it right or wrong? No, but
really,
it's one of those is what it is. That's human nature type shit. That's true. That's true.
It's a God of reason. It's a God of order. Right? So there's encouragement in the Bible, and certainly with Jews, by the way,
But when your only goal in life is to eliminate the whole race or religion, it's hard to be on that side.
Those people who are advancing. Now I know they'll try and tell you that the Arabs created the modern American system. That's not true. Some nice architecture and maybe some cool weapons along the way, but it has not been a society that has advanced. They've always been a progression of civil war.
Oh yeah, very much so. The runes in the they don't start showing up until much later. Everything else, just like with the indigenous people here, was passed on from family to family.
That's why it's not been done in a mainstream Christian.
And the ones that passed on the stuff were the ones that went out, fought, and died. So a lot of times those stories didn't get passed.
So a Swiss court has sentenced this writer,
I agree,
to 60 days in jail for calling a journalist a fat lesbian. No, I know you're gonna say that's not nice. Guilty of that. Here's the picture of said fat lesbian. And so, by the way, I would say, okay, she doesn't look that fat. I'd have gone with bold like Harry Carey. I think that would have been more. Side by side, yeah. Hey, what happens when we shift? Now,
Cal's sitting here every morning. He's gotten the BAM every morning.
That's exactly what you thought she would look like. Now, the Swiss, just to be clear, voted to penalize.
Oh, he's got somebody.
In 2020, yeah, good. Just push it underground.
Let's see.
Push for a law that was backed by the government and most parties. And so, just to be clear, that means that she's fatty. She's lesbian.
There he goes. No lights on yet, but he's still hauling ass 10 over the speed limit. Which one is he going for? Yep. That's a road pirate right there. Straight up road pirate.
I obviously do not deny crossing any capacity.
No, he's just finding a new spot.
Be jailed for denying Holocaust.
Right.
Where's he pacing?
I know people
merciless.
I have
No lights on yet.
Only 600,000 Jews were killed in the Holocaust. How they came to that number, I didn't even want to fully understand. I tried. It didn't make any sense. But this
just ran a plate, I think.
Of course, when people say, why is it not against control? It's not because you can deny the Holocaust. But it kind of is because you can deny the Holocaust. It is because you have the right to say things that are offensive, just to be clear. Because now you have these Swiss LGBT groups that are hailing this decision as a victory.
He slowed down.
Probably also support Hamas. I wouldn't be surprised. The co-director of the LGBT group, LOS, I don't know what it stands for. I don't care.
Lion whales are us.
Yes, sorry.
Stingering you.
It says this court decision is an important moment for justice and rights of the LGBTQI people in Switzerland. The conviction of Sorrell is a strong signal that homophobic.
Oh, there's another one there.
Ah.
That's Perrysburg. It's a different one. He's still there. Call that out.
There'd be no one left in BuzzFeed Switzerland.
Another one's still in the left lane.
He's more worried about.
Give me your booty.
Because the lesbian's not even a. Just saying, lesbian.
Do you have any idea what they would do to gay William in Switzerland? Do you have any idea what that man says about lesbians? I don't just say you're a fat lesbian. He goes, all lesbians are fat and disgusting.
He'd be creative about it.
He would.
He wouldn't just say fat lesbian. He'd have some good stuff.
He really does.
Yep. You just find a different hunting spot.
I don't want to say it.
No, I don't. And by the way, this is something you can see everywhere outside the United States. Remember I told you that
Bam, baby.
Pastor Stephen Bush a long time
Identified. Police. Other side. Marked.
That happened over there.
I don't think it's going to work on this one, Dirty. I got to figure it out. I just set up the Streamlabs with it yesterday, and none of the gambling or anything's working with the alt channel yet.
We're heading that way here.
But on the desktop stream, we'll have her going. I'm gonna be busy as fuck today, though. I've got things I got to do for the rehab and for the I got payroll for the regular job. And then I get to tell people that they're not starting today too.
And say, oh, we do it better. That's the fundamental difference between conservatism, federalism, what we believe, and what the left believes. We look at this and say, I don't like that the guy who made the Holocaust. You know, or probably shouldn't call someone a fat lesbian unless she's a fat lesbian. We look
Gamble 1 million.
We look at pastors who protest and we say, oh my gosh, they're being arrested. We look at, for example, a friend of the show, Mike Ward, who was actually put.
You went over a mill last night, didn't you?
Jail for a joke, a stand-up comedian. So we look at that, and we look at the good and the bad that comes with freedom of speech in the United States, and we say, oh, we believe that this is the better way. The left, the Elizabeth Warrens, the Joe Bidens, the Bernie Sanders, all these people, the entire DNC, they look at Europe and they say,
Tell you what, they better get that shit figured out, man.
A dividing line.
Last Friday was a fucking nightmare. Our pay card company didn't pay anybody until almost 5 p.m. last Friday. Everybody else got their money on time, but everybody with the pay card company we're with didn't get paid till Friday, and then a bunch of them locked themselves out of their accounts because they kept checking over and over again the balance. And got locked out.
You may not like it.
It was a nightmare.
Do that because that is the perfect.
First time that's happened with this company.
I can't summarize it quite accurately, so go look at what he says about it. But you want to be able to point out bad ideas so that you can ridicule the idea and point to the truth, not let it hide in a corner. Bring it out in the light, let everybody see how bad of an idea it is.
I think one time Josh came up with a new haircut. They said, you asked for the fat lesbian haircut. It wasn't him, it was the haircut.
You'd be in jail.
Sometimes that happens. We've all had fat lesbian haircuts. When they cut it too short, you know what I mean? You're like, I look like Chaz Bottom.
That reminds me, I gotta call my lawyer about that.
Yes, you do. What were you like?
They're getting slapped with shit.
What sucks is that we should have known something was happening because usually those pay cards get paid early. Remember, everybody came in asking me, and I mean, I've had issues where, you know, they didn't get paid till Friday, but not 5 p.m. on fucking Friday. People were flipping. I don't blame them, and I was not pissed at anybody for being upset about it, but I was like, you know, if I had any control over this, I'd fix it. But I wasn't mad at anybody, but I'm like, you know, there's nothing I can do until you're not paid on time. We can't even question that company until noon on Friday. So
inconsequential
Yeah,
president.
well,
And,
fine.
and a destroyer too.
And a destroyer. So yeah, those guys typically don't travel alone, right? So we're kind of flexing our muscle a little bit, but they're basically saying that that's just to prevent other countries from getting involved in this war. I don't know that the Biden administration can do a whole lot at this point. I feel like the time to act is before, right? The time to act is to maybe make it clear that if anything happens, that the United States would support Israel if you attack them in a way that is unprovoked or, I don't know, cowardly, like I like to call this one, because they are cowards for doing this. I don't think you can do that. I think Donald Trump basically had set that precedent saying, look, if you screw around,
Walking home.
I will
Ooh, I bet you feel nice and relaxed.
to find your head of
Chiropractor appointment.
and blowing up where he drives.
Yeah, I always feel good leaving the chiropractor.
Just say it, the world stage. Kill them. Kill them all. Kill them all. That's what you do. Donald Trump would say, all right, we don't care what the UN says. Go, kill them all. That sends a message.
Kill them all.
Yeah, no. You have to be strong before this stuff breaks out, because now you can't go, well, hold on, we told you, that's not so good. Right. Like, it's too much.
But preemptively should we stand with them, and we have the right to kill you all. If you're not against people, then what happens? You go, hey, remember how we said you can kill them all? Go ahead, kill them all.
By the way, Iran, the funding for this stuff, the approval for this stuff, the planning for this stuff, it would be hit with severe sanctions and also probably some exploding things.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of response that I think.
Yeah, I'm not
Donald
sure
Trump
what
would have in
that
this situation if they even went that step further, because we know Iran was behind this.
Yeah, you did certainly cut all the funding, and to think that wouldn't have an immediate effect. Imagine if, let's say, there was, I don't know, bioengineering, and they were creating powers.
One thing good about Philly right now is their football team.
Yeah. Now we're sending you no funding because you're engineering viruses. You don't think?
Hey, Dirty's won 2 weeks in a row,
Wait. All of us are out of a job? No. We'll stop engineering viruses.
even with an inactive player on a starting lineup.
It's a comedian. I remember with fat kids.
He won with an inactive player.
Money.
I lost for the second week in a row. I'm not liking this trend. He's winning and I'm losing.
You're mad at the parents. You're mad at Iran. Hamas doesn't have any money. Just stop it. Just ensure that no money goes to anyone who will support these people from the United States. And then,
Yeah, and you've won the last 2 weeks.
unfortunately, if they ever attack more innocent
Matt, not so much.
Or if they have any American hostages, you go, oh, you really thought you had a tough time.
Anna beat the wife this last week.
All right, next year.
You've been waiting on that.
She beat the wifey.
Cobalt Smith, question for the team. Do you think the Biden regime's choice to allow the border wall to continue being built is linked with the doors moving on? The timing seems suspect.
No, I don't. What I think it is his poll numbers are low, and he realizes that he's losing state of the issue. You need to understand that when the left does anything that you think is reasonable, they're not doing it out of some crisis of moral conscience. They're doing it out of necessity because they're dead in the water at this point. It is such. I guess I should say it's a unifying issue right now. We're sure you have a lot of people who didn't like this rhetoric.
Yeah,
but
Anna's a wife beater.
Americans, by the way, not just Republicans, and not just legal immigrants, not just people who live.
Farlap had a chance to beat that guy that's been blowing everybody away, except he had 4 people inactive, or on 3 people on bye weeks and 1 inactive with injuries.
It's an issue for Democrats. I think they're probably.
If he'd have just tried a little bit, he'd have beat that guy. Because that guy had one of his worst weeks ever.
And they need to do something about it. That's why I think they're doing it.
Yep, I think that's 100% true. They're leaning
But
into something
what do you
that's successful
expect
for Donald Trump
from
in
Kiwi?
a way that
He doesn't understand American football anyway.
Need the votes of all of the migrants and mass mail-in voting, but they've run the numbers and they realize it's not enough. It's not enough because they're losing too many votes from American citizens on the immigration issue. So they thought they could make up for it with the illegal immigrants. And then they were surprised to find out that some Latinos actually still come in, and even though they come in illegally, a lot of them are pretty conservative socially. Right? We've run some of those numbers before, and it's a numbers game. They're saying we're not sustainable as a party if we keep doing this. That's really what it is. I know you'd like.
Yeah, well, there's a few teams that did that. Got it auto picked. So, I mean, there's really nothing wrong with auto pick. It's literally pulling the best player available at that point.
Yeah, Donald Trump was the only president who went into office pro-gay marriage ever in the history of America. Remember that, whether you agree or not. That's a fact.
Yeah.
Another chicken. By the way, where are you going to be, Josh?
Oh yeah, Chopper.
Messy Jesse.
It's sort of like Cheese Whiz Burgers or something. Like what's the name?
I don't even know. I've never been there. It's I don't even know what it is.
It's probably really clean.
A brewery or a bar or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I use my own brain, and I ended up with some shitty picks.
Well, it's Robert.
I got a couple decent players, but I'm just barely hanging in there.
They play Jesse.
Usually about this deep into it, though, with enough injuries, you start looking at other players that were not drafted. I've been doing a little bit of that. That's helped, but
I've done that. You've done
COVID was a hard time.
I did a little basement once.
Miss Rogers.
I'm still good friends with financial advisors. So like they actually got built in the basement and they have their annual meeting. And what happens, I used to have energy packs, that like put into water. It wasn't Crystal Light. I used to give it HEB. Delicious. They stopped making them. So it's like 120 milligrams of caffeine, which is less than, it's about a cup of coffee, but less than a Monster, more than a small Red Bull. And I put it into this, what looked like a bottle of water. And then my heart went boom, 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 boom. It was caffeine water.
Oh, what is even that?
And it was 250 milligrams of caffeine in the bottle of water. So I had, 370 milligrams of caffeine. And at this point, I didn't drink a lot of caffeine at once. Whoops. And I went up and I guess I'm really nervous.
I never even heard of caffeine water.
Yeah, I didn't either. And it was not in large print. It just looked like a bottle of, like Smart Waters. And the cylindrical bottle, I thought, this looks like a cool bottle. It was refreshing. It's frosty. There's no taste to caffeine. I'm still alive.
I want to see a whole city on caffeine water.
That would be fun.
Oh, Portland.
Then you end up with Hamas.
Yeah.
By the way, that comedian that you were thinking about for the fat kid was Orny Adams.
Orny Adams. Okay. I thought there were a couple comments.
What they say to that live stream.
It's funny.
That's interesting.
All right, final chat. I know we might.
It's amazing how many people have never heard of that.
All right, let's take two more shits.
One from,
Or even realize that
that's a great question.
areas like that exist. They exist in every big city, though.
Do you believe the left will start coming after him? Do you believe they will shift some of their focus from Trump to RFK?
Well, the left has already gone after the RFK.
I know right where they're at in Detroit, or where they used to be.
At once they can shoot bubblegum.
I mean, it's not like they can only put out one tweet a day. Sorry, one X a day.
Well, Joe calls the lid.
I mean, most psych doctors are pretty lefty, so
Literally the day yesterday before he.
of course you look disgusted. How could this be? How could we allow this as a country?
What's that girl? KJP?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's the one tweeting.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, bitch. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we know. So they've already attacked RFK. Look, there's always this sort of new conservative figure du jour.
Yeah.
Again, you see these videos like that Not Muhammad video that you saw. That was 10 years old. And by the way, that was a sequel that was close to 5 years after the original Quran channel.
Which I agree with. How could we allow it?
I've seen the rise and fall of a lot of people. And I've also seen sort of some tokenism take place. Not saying it's RFK Jr., but I saw a lot of people going, RFK, Donald Trump, great joint ticket. But those same people bitch.
I'm curious as the months get colder and colder, how many little fires are going to be out there?
Not thrust him into the national spotlight.
Or where are they going to move to?
So that's my point of view. I think he's valuable. And
It's already getting down in the 40s at night.
Deconstructing narratives out there regarding COVID vaccines, lockdowns, those
And you
things.
just go into abandoned houses.
I'm not pro-life, but I believe there should be a limitation after the first trimester because it forces some people there to think, to say, hey, I'm a Democrat, I'm tolerant, but I don't think there should be gender surgeries for minors. And then people go, oh, hold on a second. Then they realize that that's most of Europe. It's really only the United States where we do that. So there's a lot of you there, and the left will attack him because of the value.
Garbage can fires.
I would say to the right.
I haven't really been. Even with it in the background with Bao, I don't watch it that much. Except for when he sees a lot of laptop.
So that he's not ready for.
Yeah, we tend to do that. We tend to run kind of
People tend to do that.
Yeah, there's people that want to vote probably. I mean, obviously, that like rally. People want to vote for candidates.
I mean, I've subscribed to them, so they're on my feed every day because they're live all the time.
So I don't think they would attack you.
Yeah, exactly. There's
I'll pop in once in a while, but if I can't find anything when I'm streaming, I'll throw that in the back.
It's a fat lesbian journalist, you attack the ideas.
That's true.
All right, final check. Look at this lady. Look at that
That's
helmet.
true.
Look at this lady in the helmet. She's got a helmet today.
I was doing the same thing, but I wasn't homeless yet.
You're just like using Spaceballs.
I'm just happy. I'm just so glad that fentanyl wasn't even available when I was going through my throes.
That quite literally looks like a.
But it was OxyContin at the time. OxyContin and cocaine.
I was saying this before.
It's Chip Moranis.
Of all of the
Speedball in one line.
of all of the people that go to like war zones, like she typically is in some pretty dangerous places. Yeah, a lot of times it's like people that go out to cover hurricanes. They're like 50 miles away from heavy winds, and they're like, it's really blowing. There's people walking behind them, that kind of thing. She typically does end up in some pretty hairy situations.
Yeah.
That doesn't fun. It just looks fun.
Yeah, I went away in 2008.
The first time they were like, when you're announcing the rockets leaving Gaza,
Right when they were starting to really just take them away.
A skeleton, or whatever it's called.
By the time I got out,
And then immediately
they had pretty much removed the ability to get oxys anymore. And everybody was back to what was they said was regular heroin again, but that's when the fentanyl started slipping in.
Yeah. Just do it quick.
Yeah, I agree. It was back in the 70s. That's when they were shipping it over in boxes with dead soldiers. Coffins with dead soldiers.
Why didn't anyone tell me this? I don't know. We just, gotta make it better TV.
Message retracted. Uh-oh.
You're probably using GoPros in a minute. Let's grab our final check.
So from Camp Geiger, if the wall is constructed and they do enforce it, how should the government handle the illegals who have been released unpaid? Is it possible to do mass deportation?
Well, there's only one way to find out. Give it a whirl. I mean, really, for the kids, I really do think, like, maybe there's a cutoff.
Oh yeah. Well, that was the 80s too.
In the last, I don't know.
Well, not even. Yeah, it was 80s for cocaine.
Should be, maybe give them like a path to come back at that point where they can prove.
You had LT and all them guys out there.
Education, their skill set that would be required. If there's like, for example, a void in American workers who can't do that job. But
yeah, Bill's hurt.
You're gone. I don't know. Is it?
No, I think it's incredibly fair to put.
Have you seen that movie Painkiller?
Anybody prior to this, we're going to figure out how to deal with that. By the way, on the list of going back, maybe you just not going to sit back now, but literally close that border off.
Yeah, in the 80s.
Legal immigration, an easier process. You morons, because there's so many good people that are trying to get into this country that can't, and you're forcing it.
Pittsburgh and Dallas dominated the 70s.
Yeah, you get more rights that way. But you have
I
to
did.
close this thing off. You have to stop the flood of people coming into this country, and you have to send people back who should not be here.
Okay, let's start with Common. Before we get to kids,
Darren McCarty, him and his buddies, they were on coke constantly.
I understand the but that's not really the rate limiting factor. You need to distill this to the rate limiting factor. Does the left? Okay,
God, what were those guys?
Okay, we can understand that. Does the left want to deport people?
McCarty was more alcohol was more his thing, but
in the last few months, no.
With alcohol comes coke.
To deport illegal immigrants.
Yeah, who was the one that got
committing
Robert got popped with it?
No, they do not. So let's start with common ground.
Man, who's the other guy though? The other fighter.
That any, and I don't just
he got stopped on the Windsor-Detroit border. He got busted with it.
Even once they've come over here.
Come on, dude.
Anyone who is caught committing a crime
Thank you.
doesn't go to an American prison. This doesn't even just apply to violent crimes, by the way. Any crimes committed by this, we start by deporting them first. Absolutely, they're gone. If we can all agree on that, then maybe there's some wiggle room on the rest of them, depending on what they're contributing to society. But let's start with deporting criminals who have come here illegally.
Tim Allen,
That's me, Mr. Common Ground. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, he did state time distributing it. Grand Rapids or Kalamazoo, tool time, yeah, hell. You mean MN, not NM? Oh, it is Minnesota. Louisiana? Yeah. like I don't have any. Well, let's turn on the scanner since there's nothing on yet.
Pacific Dispatch, 100 South Range 5 on scene, Monica's Dunbar, cancel 302.
Oh, that. Hey, Gregory. That's the backup channel. We'll be on the regular channel in about a half hour or so. 12:45, 1. I'll start it.
Thanks, got 3 seconds.
And that road there is looking pretty good. Hopefully they'll have that done by winter time, and then be working on this side. Look how much higher it sits up than this side. We were listening to you serenade the other day. You're with your Gregory karaoke. Bob was showing it. That was pretty good content. Yeah, for the tanks. Yeah, they're supposedly all supposed to be being made to be able to do that. They're supposed to be made to where you can land planes on them too. These interstates. That's why they say you need at least 1 mile every, 10 miles of straight. Needs to be straight. 1 out of 10 miles has to be straight so they can land on them. There you go. That's cool. I could use a few more too. I need 25 more. Monetize.
Central Dispatch.
On the other channel, on the main channel.
You're responding with what?
Oh yeah. I agree.
Quick one on your arrival to see.
Eisenhower gave it away when he got out of office. His speech that when he left, he's like, he feels like he made a big mistake with all this. And he tried to warn everybody about the military-industrial complex, even though he was a big part of it. I mean, it's hard to see that when you're in it. Believe me. When I was active duty, I'd have fought anybody who wanted to tell me that they controlled everything. But hopefully with age comes wisdom. Oh yeah. You missed the tree rat. A bomb fire. I think I knew what you meant. It says free weed. New customers only. Free weed. Grand opening. Oh, I got to get that information to Midwest about that CBD. I looked it up yesterday. I got to shoot him the information. He got a lot of cement in the back there. Got blocks, and then he's got the quickcrete on top. Wonder if that's the mortar for the blocks. Oh yeah? Yeah, Ford just built a distribution center here. It's Monroe. They're not even hiring for it yet, but it looks like it's done almost. Monroe Packaging Center. See, they're still getting power out there, but the building's up. It's a pretty big warehouse there. I mean, they're literally probably just going to pull people from other places. I doubt they hire anybody locally. Man, gas shot up again last night. It was almost down to $3. Now it's up to $3.60. Ah, fuck. Well, we're gonna be delayed. Fucking train. And then there's something else going on at the other tracks there. What the fuck is going on here? Whoa, that guy's pissed. He must be in a hurry. Technically, they're not supposed to keep the tracks stopped during the day for more than 15 minutes. Man, everybody's turning around. They must know something.
Central BG 32 and clear us with supplement. Can you create a new number for us for a warrant arrest?
Warrant arrest.
Is that the same location?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Canadian geese are rodents too, man. Nah, it's all train workers. If it's a body, there'd be fire trucks and stuff. They're working on something there. This guy's putting shoes on in front of me. And everybody's turning around like they're not thinking this is going to be open. You see? Looks like they're all coming off the track now. Whatever work they did. Now watch them lift the signals now. Yeah, they gotta every few minutes release it. Yep, there they go. All those people that turned around. Believe me, the alternative route. Most male ducks look awesome. The females look all just bland. Yeah, see, they're working on them. They gotta release it every few minutes.
Dunbar Road, dispatch. Go ahead, sir.
All those people that turned around. Free wood.
No, Township Fire, go with your traffic.
We have checked the establishment, and we'd like to have the gas company come over to verify for a gas leak. We're going to keep them shut down until we get all clear. Claire, will you be contacting me, or would you like us to do that? Yeah, I have a number I can contact. Claire, if you need any extra assistance, let us know.
Yeah, why don't you ever out to your
Spaghetti dinner.
Monroe,
AmVets.
Telegraph.
Claire. Those are always nice fundraisers because spaghetti's so cheap to make. Well, it's because the winters have been more mild, Chopper. They just stay where the weather's decent.
South Firefighter Monroe Station on S36.
They hit south as necessary. I mean, I've already seen flocks heading south, especially these last weekends. Nice stop there, homie. Yeah. Huge populations of them too because they're protected. Fucking overrunning areas. Big O fine if you kill a goose. That isn't raised for killing anyway.
Can you check me the 5857 first name, please? Thanks.
I'm in service of the station on F36.
Show me up. Show me the last tire.
Central to 5021 security.
Well, yeah, I mean, you want to use your car to take one out, I guess. Geese are pretty good eating. I'd rather not damage my vehicle doing that, though.
Central, clear flash.
Yeah, it's that time of year. California plates. Okay.
$46 to jail.
That's a B? So that would happen to the wife. She reacts crazy with bees. I'm like, just don't stop swinging at them. You'll be fine. She never gets it. Killed that Red Bull. It's a new winter edition. Pear cinnamon. Pretty good. All right. I should be back by like 12:45. Thanks for riding with me. Peace. Love you guys.